Ladies and gentlemen, motivation is a beautiful thing, but it's also unreliable. It shows up when it wants to, not when you need it most. That's why people start strong and fizzle out. That's why gym memberships spike in January and attendance drops in February. Motivation is like a friend who cancels plans at the last minute. It means well, but it can't always be counted on. Discipline, however, is a different story. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It doesn't wait for inspiration. It shows up, it acts, it commits. And if you want to be consistent, if you want to truly build something that lasts, then discipline has to be your anchor. Most people wait until they feel like doing the work. But the truth is, you're rarely going to feel like it. Your brain is designed to protect you from discomfort. It wants ease. It wants safety. It wants the path of least resistance. And consistency demands the opposite. Consistency asks you to get uncomfortable every single day. It asks you to rise above your excuses, above your moods, above your temporary emotions. Motivation might get you started, but only discipline will keep you going. Think about the people you admire, the athletes, the leaders, the thinkers, the creators. You may see their highlight reels, but you don't see their routines. You don't see the days they woke up tired and still showed up. You don't see the late nights, the early mornings, the repetition, the setbacks. What you're really seeing is the result of discipline, the result of showing up long after motivation walked out the door. Consistency isn't sexy. It's not dramatic. It doesn't come with applause or instant rewards. But over time, it builds something unshakable. It creates trust in yourself and from others. When you rely on discipline instead of motivation, you shift your identity. You stop saying things like, "I want to be a writer," or "I want to get in shape," and you start being those things. You write every day, even when the words don't flow. You train when your muscles ache. You study when your mind wants to scroll. That's how transformation happens, not through bursts of motivation, but through the quiet, repeated act of showing up. Not once, not when it's convenient, but every single day. We live in a world obsessed with quick fixes and viral moments. But real growth doesn't come in explosions. It comes in layers. It comes from doing the work when no one's watching. When it's boring, when it's hard, when it's thankless, and that takes discipline. That takes a commitment to your future self that's stronger than your current feelings. Because your feelings are temporary, but your habits are permanent. And your habits shape your destiny. The truth is, discipline is freedom. It may feel rigid at first, but over time it frees you from regret, from inconsistency, from the anxiety of starting over again and again. It gives you momentum, stability, and progress. It builds confidence, not the loud, fake kind, but the quiet kind that comes from keeping promises to yourself. Every time you act with discipline, you reinforce the message, "I can count on me." That's powerful. So stop waiting for motivation. It's not coming. Stop hoping for the right mood. It's unreliable. Force yourself to act. Not because it's easy, but because it matters. Not because you feel like it, but because you said you would. Discipline is how you become the person you're meant to be. We often think we have to wait until we feel like the person we want to become before we act like that person. We tell ourselves, once I'm confident, I'll speak up. Or once I'm disciplined, I'll go to the gym every day. Or once I believe in myself, I'll pursue that goal. But it doesn't work that way. Identity doesn't come first. Action does. You don't become confident and then take action. You take action, and through repetition, confidence follows. You don't become a writer by dreaming about writing. You become a writer by writing every day, especially on the days when it's hard. Identity follows repetition. Who you are is shaped by what you do consistently. Most people think change starts with belief. But the truth is, belief often comes last. Real, lasting transformation starts with doing something, even when you don't believe in it yet. Even when it feels awkward. Even when you're full of doubt. You do it anyway. You show up. You build the reps. And over time, your brain starts to catch up. It starts to recognize the pattern. It starts to say, maybe this is who I am. And that's where identity is formed, not in a flash of insight, but in the slow, steady rhythm of repetition. Every time you do something, you cast a vote for the kind of person you want to become. When you wake up early, when you keep a promise, when you push through discomfort, you're not just achieving a goal. You're shaping your identity. You're wiring your brain to believe this is what I do. This is who I am. The repetition matters more than the result. The act of doing something repeatedly holds more power than doing it perfectly. Consistency beats intensity. It's better to do something imperfectly every day than to do it perfectly once and never again. The small choices compound. The daily behaviors accumulate. That's how change actually happens incrementally, through repetition, through habits, through action. You want to change your life, start acting like the person you want to become, even if it doesn't feel real yet. Start doing the things that version of you would do. Would they skip their workout because they're tired? Would they give up on the hard task? Would they make excuses, procrastinate, or avoid? Or would they lean in even when it's difficult? Act like that person today, not next week, not next year, not when it's easier now, and keep doing it. Keep showing up. Eventually, your behavior starts to change your brain. Eventually, the external act becomes internal truth. Repetition builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Every time you follow through on a habit, even a small one, you prove to yourself that you're capable. You build self-respect, you build certainty, and slowly you stop feeling like a fraud. Slowly, you start to embody the role. Because repetition isn't just practice. It's identity training. It's becoming who you say you are. You don't need to wait for a breakthrough. You don't need permission or a sign. You just need to begin, and you need to keep going when it's boring. When it's hard, when no one is watching, that's where the real shift happens. That's where character is built. Your identity is not fixed, it's fluid. It's shaped by what you do repeatedly, not what you wish for. So decide who you want to be, and then prove it through your actions, over and over again, until one day you wake up and realize it's no longer something you're trying to be. It's who you are. We often overestimate what we can do in a short burst and underestimate what we can accomplish through small, repeated actions. It's tempting to chase big, dramatic progress, the overnight success, the giant leap, the viral moment. But real success, the kind that lasts, doesn't come from explosive effort. It comes from what you do in the quiet, unseen moments. It comes from the daily grind, the small habits, the tiny efforts you make when no one is watching. Because tiny efforts compound, they grow, they build on each other, they turn into something extraordinary over time. Think about it like this. If you took a penny and doubled it every day for a month, it wouldn't seem like much at first. But by the end of 30 days, you'd have millions. That's the power of compounding, not just in money, but in effort, in behavior, in mindset. It's the same principle that turns a few pages of reading every day into a bookshelf of knowledge. It's what transforms a short daily workout into a body of strength and endurance. It's what turns 5 minutes of journaling into clarity, self-awareness, and personal growth. The key is consistency. The key is showing up, even when the effort feels small, even when the results aren't visible yet. The danger is that small things are easy to dismiss. Skipping one workout doesn't feel like a big deal. Sleeping in one morning won't ruin your life. Missing one opportunity to grow won't make you fail. But the reverse is also true. Doing a little each day doesn't feel like it's changing anything. It's slow, it's quiet, and it often goes unnoticed. But the compound effect doesn't care how you feel. It works whether you believe in it or not. Tiny efforts, repeated consistently, create powerful momentum. They build discipline, confidence, and character. They shift the trajectory of your life, one choice at a time. People don't quit because they're incapable. They quit because they can't see progress. They're addicted to instant gratification, to fast results. And when those results don't show up quickly, they assume they've failed. But if they stayed with the process, if they kept making those tiny efforts, they'd realize progress was happening the whole time. Just below the surface, just out of sight, because growth doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it just waits. It waits for you to keep showing up. And then, all at once, the results become visible. That's how breakthroughs happen. Not overnight, but through days, weeks, and months of effort you thought didn't matter. The magic of tiny efforts is not in their size but in their direction. Are you moving forward? Are you becoming a little better, a little wiser, a little stronger? It doesn't take a huge push. It just takes forward motion. It takes intentional repetition. If you write 1 page a day, you'll have a book in a year. If you improve 1% every day, you'll be 37 times better by the end of the year. But you have to commit. You have to believe that the effort you're making today is worth it, even if it feels invisible, because one day it won't be. Success isn't one massive decision. It's a series of small ones. It's what you do with your mornings, your evenings, your spare time. It's the way you treat your body, your mind, your goals. It's not glamorous. It's not dramatic. It's deliberate. It's intentional and it's repeatable. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do something consistently, because tiny efforts repeated over time don't just add up. They multiply, they compound, and eventually they change everything. We live in a world addicted to stimulation. Every second, something is buzzing, blinking, pulling for our attention. We've been conditioned to believe that if something isn't exciting, it's not worth doing. If it doesn't give us a rush, a dopamine hit, a feeling of novelty, we assume it's wrong or ineffective. But the truth is, growth rarely feels exciting in the moment. Mastery doesn't feel like fireworks. Progress doesn't feel like adrenaline. Real growth feels boring. It feels repetitive. It feels quiet. And the people who succeed long-term are the ones who learn to fall in love with boredom. There's a reason champions train long after the crowd is gone. There's a reason the best writers keep showing up to the page even when the words aren't flowing. It's not because they're always inspired. It's because they've made peace with the process. They've accepted that greatness is not born in moments of hype, but in hours of unseen, monotonous work. The same moves, the same drills, the same routine, day in, day out. The difference is, they don't resist the boredom, they lean into it. They embrace it because they know what it leads to. If you only work when you're excited, you'll never build consistency. If you only create when you're inspired, your output will be random. If you only show up when it feels good, you'll always fall short of your potential. Because most of the time, the work is not glamorous, it's not exciting, it's not a highlight reel, it's practice, it's routine. It's the exact same thing you did yesterday and the day before that. But within that repetition lies everything you're working for. Repetition is what sharpens your edge. Boredom is not the enemy, it's the path. The problem is that boredom feels uncomfortable. It's quiet, it's still. It forces you to be alone with your effort, with no distractions, no shortcuts, no applause. But that's exactly where the magic is. When you fall in love with boredom, you stop chasing intensity and start cultivating resilience. You stop relying on spikes of motivation and start relying on discipline. You stop asking how you feel and start focusing on what needs to be done. The most successful people are not those who found a way to make everything exciting. They're the ones who mastered the art of repetition. They showed up when it was hard. They showed up when it was dull. They showed up when no one noticed. And by doing so, they separated themselves from everyone else who quit the moment the novelty wore off. The truth is, you won't feel inspired every day, but you don't need to. You just need to stay committed. You just need to keep going. When you can do the same thing over and over again and still bring intention to it, still bring presence to it, that's when you become dangerous. That's when you unlock true power, because most people quit long before they ever get good. Most people never see what's on the other side of boredom because they run from it. But if you can stay, if you can learn to appreciate the quiet, steady rhythm of repetition, you'll uncover something most people never will: endurance, focus, mastery. So much of success is about doing the simple things well and often. It's not about breakthroughs every day. It's about trust, trusting that the boring work matters, trusting that showing up again and again is worth it, trusting that the results will come, not in an explosion, but in a gradual, unstoppable wave. You don't need more stimulation. You don't need constant excitement. You need patience. You need routine. You need the courage to do the ordinary with extraordinary consistency. And when you finally stop running from boredom, you realize it's not a barrier, it's a bridge. Feelings are fleeting. They change with the weather, with sleep, with stress, with distractions. One moment you're motivated, and the next, you're exhausted. One day you feel inspired to work out, to create, to lead, and the next you just want to stay in bed and scroll through your phone. If your life is led by your feelings, your consistency will crumble. Because consistency doesn't ask how you feel. It demands that you set standards, clear, non-negotiable expectations for yourself, and live by them regardless of your emotional state. That's how progress happens. That's how you earn growth. Not by chasing how you feel, but by honoring what you said you would do. The moment you allow your standards to be dictated by how you feel, you give your emotions control over your destiny. And feelings by nature are reactive. They respond to the moment, not the mission. But standards are rooted in values. Standards come from a place of intention, purpose, and identity. When you set a standard, you're declaring to yourself and the world, this is who I am. Not who I want to be when everything is perfect, but who I am even when it's hard, even when I'm tired, even when no one is watching. Standards are stable. They create structure, and structure creates freedom. Imagine a professional athlete who only trains when they feel like it. Imagine a parent who only shows up for their child when they're in a good mood. Imagine a leader who only communicates when they're inspired. That's not excellence, that's chaos, that's inconsistency. The people who rise, the people who stay grounded, are those who make decisions based on standards, not feelings. They wake up and ask, what does the mission require? Not what do I feel like doing today? That small shift is everything. Because the mission won't always feel good. The path won't always feel exciting. And that's exactly why standards exist. To carry you through the days your emotions try to steer you off course. Setting standards means you show up, even when no one's cheering. You stay focused, even when progress feels invisible. You act in alignment with your values, not your mood. This doesn't mean you ignore your emotions. It means you don't allow them to vote. You listen to them, you acknowledge them, but you don't hand them the steering wheel. You let your standards guide the action, and eventually your emotions catch up. That's the paradox. When you stop chasing good feelings and start honoring high standards, the pride and confidence you were looking for begin to grow. Because confidence doesn't come from feeling good. It comes from keeping promises to yourself. Most people fail not because they lack goals, but because they lack the standards required to reach them. They set intentions, but when the discomfort sets in, they retreat. They plan, but when the mood changes, so does the effort. But the ones who win are not the ones with the most talent. They're the ones with the highest standards and the discipline to stick to them. They understand that emotion is temporary, but integrity is forever. They understand that the cost of breaking a standard is much greater than the cost of pushing through a hard day. The truth is, excellence is not found in the big moments. It's found in the boring ones. It's found in the repetition, in the ordinary, in the days where you didn't feel like it, but did it anyway. And the only way to do that is to operate by standard. If you want to become someone you're proud of, don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait for motivation to strike. Choose who you are. Choose your values, set your standard, and then live by it again and again until it becomes your identity. Your future isn't something that just happens to you. It's not written in the stars or waiting to be discovered like a hidden treasure. Your future is shaped by what you do today, by the choices you make when no one's watching, by the habits you build in silence, and by the standards you refuse to lower. Every decision, every action, every effort you put in, even the smallest ones, are bricks being laid toward the life you're building. It's easy to forget that because today doesn't always feel important, but it is. Your future depends on it. We often talk about dreams like they're distant, magical things, but the truth is, dreams become reality through daily discipline. Not luck, not inspiration, not flashes of genius. Discipline, repetition, consistency. That's what your future is asking of you. Not just to want more, but to become more. Not just to visualize the life you want, but to act in alignment with it. Even on the days when you feel tired, discouraged, or distracted. Especially on those days, because those are the days when most people give up, and those are the days that count the most. If you could fast forward and look back from 10 years in the future, what would you wish you had started today? What would you regret not taking seriously? The truth is, the version of you want to become stronger, wiser, more focused, more fulfilled isn't waiting somewhere down the road. That version of you is built one choice at a time, starting now. Not next month, not next year, now. Because time doesn't pause while you hesitate. Time keeps moving, and every day you delay is a day you could have been growing. You may not always see the progress in real time. You might wonder if the effort is worth it. You might question whether your small actions are making any difference. But every rep counts. Every morning you rise when it's hard. Every time you say no to distraction. Every moment you choose discipline over ease. It all adds up. It may not pay off today, but it's shaping who you are. And who you are determines what you can handle, what you attract, what you build, and what you become. The people who create remarkable futures are not the ones who wait for clarity. They're the ones who act with conviction, even when it's uncomfortable. They're the ones who hold themselves to a higher standard, not because someone is watching, but because they understand what's at stake. They realize that the way they live now sets the tone for everything that comes later. They realize that showing up today, even in small, simple ways, is how you prepare for the opportunities that haven't arrived yet. The future rewards the prepared. It honors the persistent. It opens doors for the disciplined. Your future self is depending on you to fight through the resistance you're feeling right now. The resistance to get started, the resistance to keep going, the resistance to be consistent. You're not just doing this for today. You're doing it for the version of you who will look back one day and say thank you. Thank you for not quitting. Thank you for taking yourself seriously. Thank you for doing the work, even when it was hard. You can't control everything that happens, but you can control how you show up. You can control what you commit to. You can control the energy you bring, the time you invest, and the integrity with which you live. That's what builds the kind of future worth living. Not a future built on excuses, but one built on effort. Not a future left to chance, but one created by choice. Your future doesn't begin later. It begins the moment you decide that it matters right now. And it depends on what you do with that moment.